Make sure you hit the subscribe button because we need more listeners. And make sure you hit the subscribe button because we need more followers. The bigger the followers, the bigger the guests, the bigger the invoice, the bigger the check. Man, let's just hit the damn subscribe button before you watch the video. Why do we have to beg you all to do this? I'll holler at y'all. Hope you enjoy the episode. If you do, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, share everything that's on this page, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.
Another show for Sunday Spitta. Another show for Sunday Spitta. Another show for Sunday Spitta. Look up, everybody. They call me Sir ErvinJWilliams the third, and I'm here with Sunday Spitta. Episode 4. We have some amazing people in here today for you. To my right, we got the poet, the phenomenal Casso, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a round of applause. And underneath, we got the one and only Darius, Marcel, Hagens, the phenomenal poet, and we got the one and only person who don't give a care, himself, the one and only Kaiseriffic. And we got my sister, oh, your mother, all the way over there from the born and raised. We got Kelby Alese, aka KLLC, and we got my sister from another mother, tuning in all the way from Los Angeles, California, the one and only Lene, everybody. So we want to welcome you all to Sunday Spitta. What's up, everybody? How you doing? 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 What's good, everybody? Turn your microphones on.
Hey, blessed and highly favored.
Blessed and highly favored. How's your 23,000? What's going on with you, everybody?
Greetings and salutations.
You say what? I can't hear you.
I just said greetings and salutations.
Yes, greetings and salutations. What's going on with everybody? So we up here live on Sunday Spitta today. We got some of the phenomenal poets in here today. I want you all to tune in with us, get live with us, chill with us. If you see us in real STL News, I want you all to tune in. Did you find it, Kelby? Do you see it up there?
Yeah.
All right, go and tune in for me and go and share it for me. So what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What's good? Let me go through and introduce everybody myself. Like I said before, this brother and I became really good friends during the COVID-19. I ain't never experienced nobody in my life who knew as much about music than I did. And I met this brother, Casso. Casso, man, how are you doing, brother? How you doing?
I do not complain. I was always raised to believe you don't get too far that way. So with that in mind, I'm well. I am wonderful.
You say you're doing well?
I am well. I am wonderful. I am blessed.
That's good. That's good. How you holding up during this pandemic?
Man, I was tailor-made for this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I honest to goodness feel like I don't like big groups of people. Like, don't get me wrong, my extroverted side really likes party. But even then, I want to do it with people I want to party with. So the pandemic has not been the worst thing for me. Really, really hasn't.
That's good. That's good. What about you, Miss Kelby Alese?
The pandemic has definitely had its ups and downs. My main thing has been being in the grocery store and having to be like, I know you see this sign like I see this sign, ma'am. But other than that, I have really been enjoying being in the house. It's weird because it makes you feel like, even though it's a pandemic, you're being catered to. Everything you need is being brought to your door. So I have really been enjoying that part of it.
Yes, and it's like, I'm not going back. I don't know what to tell people. I'm not going back because what y'all just proved to me, corporate America, is that I can do my job from my house any given time and be good. So yeah, I won't be going back anytime soon. What about you, Mr. Kaiseriffic?
Everything's been going good. I've been surviving, being in the house, like she said. It's been a trip, but you know what? I've kept focused. So I've been working, producing, creating new stuff, staying focused, and making my money in the process.
Absolutely. It's all, absolutely. That's so you turned your pandemic into a side hustle. I'm gonna hustle this
all the way through. What about you, Mr. Marcel Hagens, Mr. Darius Marcel Hagens? Hold on one second.
Yo, this
You keep
was
talking, Mr. Darius.
an incredible blessing for me, to be honest. Everything in the world shifted so that the things that were in my head years ago make sense to the world now. So
Explain that to me.
So what I mean, like, I've been going back through my journals from almost a decade ago, looking at the things that I wrote down, and I'm genuinely walking in those things right now. But they were out of place then, but they fit so well now, and they're still going to push people to a future place. But I'm like beyond grateful, because it wouldn't have happened without the world shutting down, which I never would have thought that's what it would have took. But I'm thankful that it did, and it just gave me a renewed sense of what's important and what I need to execute in order to see the next level of my life. So I'm excited about what has come from it, you know, and the fact that I've gone through enough to know that you can come out on the other side of something that may seem tragic and actually turn it into something triumphant.
That part right there, that's a real statement right there, bro. That's a real statement right there. What about you, Miss J. Lene? How are you guys? You've been holding up since this pandemic.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, just to echo everybody else's sentiments, is just really being able to understand what your necessities are and how they all feel naturally. And just what Darius was saying, you know, going through your journal, seeing how things are falling into place, and sometimes they've been falling into place as far as manifestation, but sometimes the world has to stop in order for you to see that, because it's always, I think. But for me, I was in San Francisco for about 3 years, moved to LA maybe 2 months before the pandemic hit, and LA was just shut down. So, I mean, when we went through like lockdown, quarantine, like we were locked down, you know, and for me, it was one of those things where it's like all my needs are met. You know, I have food, I have shelter, and I think that this is the shift that we need in order to shift energy into this new earth that we're creating. And I know we're going to get into some other things later, but I think this pause was helpful for many.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the things, I said this on the last show, it's one of those things where not only was this shift needed, like to see Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York City, and all of these cities that are like industrialized and in the market, and to see the air just clear up, and then see animals come back, and to see the sky and to see the stars, like this was a shift needed. Because let me tell you something, and I say this all the time, I'm not gonna go too deep with y'all real STL news, but this earth will exist with or without you humans on it, okay? So we either need to roll with it or get rolled over. Let me shout out some people that's in the room. What's up, Jen Dub? Thank you for always supporting. Tracy B, Billy Ray Nixon, Tawana Banks, what's good? How you doing, Tawana? Sugar, Kande, Kane, Sharice, how you all doing? Thank you all for tuning in. Everybody else is tuning in out there. So we're gonna get right into it. So I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna start with you, Kelby. What made you start writing? What made you start writing?
What made me start writing is that I've always been a mama's girl. And when I was younger, I was very nervous to disappoint her in any way. So when I had negative things going on in my life that I couldn't verbalize, and she would know I would have something that I wanted to say, she would just give me a pen and some paper and tell me to write it down. And I would write her notes and put it on her bed. And then she would read whatever it was I got into, and then come back and talk to me, you know, about whatever it was. So it made me more confident. It made me closer to her and not afraid to tell her anything, you know, and then it just made me hone in on my writing skills.
First of all, I love that, because that is a way I think more parents need to do that. Like I probably can't say it to you verbally, but if I write it down and you read it, and it gives them time to process how they go on. Because, you know, when you are a parent or when you are a person that's in authority over a child's life, sometimes you just react without really thinking about what you're about to say. So that's a great technique. I'm going to do that when I have children. That's a great technique. Hey, what's up, Sugar? Tell my son I said, what's up? She's on my son, Izzy Campbell says, hey, that's my son. I told him we try to work it out, but it just didn't work. You know, things happen. What about you, Tony? What made you start writing? I mean, Casso, I humbly apologize. What about
I
you?
promise it doesn't matter.
He's like, I'm not answering to that slave name.
Not slave name.
But honestly, music is what started it all for me. Seeing like ugly singers from the 60s and 70s move people like all the way down to the core. It was really what made me want to be. I want to write things that move people. So like initially I was a songwriter. Like that was how I started writing in the first place. But wanting to move people with my words.
Mm. So you want to be like shooby dooby doo.
Man.
Dooby doo. Let me tell you, God did not give me the voice to sing, because if he did, I'll be walking around naked all day singing all the hymns. I don't care.
Oh, Lord.
I'm gonna get this, buddy. I'll go get this. What about you, Mr. Darius Hagens? I mean, what inspired you to start writing?
So for me,
and I'm sorry, I was, hold on one second, Darius. Let me introduce everybody properly, because I didn't get a chance to do that because I was doing two things at once. This is Darius. Darius is also a writer. He's a poet. He's a director. He's an actor. He's a producer. He's a lyricist. He is a phenomenal person as well. Same thing with Mr. Casso. Mr. Casso is a certified counselor. He is also a writer. He is also a songwriter. He also has a book coming out. So let me introduce you all properly so they know who's sitting on this stage when I come to you guys, all right? Yes, Mr. Darius Hagens.
Yeah, so for me, I appreciate that. Writing really was a way for me to utilize my imagination because I grew up in situations where what I saw wasn't what I wanted to see. And sometimes there's no way to escape it. I was blessed and cursed to be a very mature child. So I knew where I was. I knew what I was seeing. I knew what I was looking at. And I knew that the only way that I could really change that was to go inside of my mind. And once I started writing, I was always fascinated by words. And then especially when you bring it into a poetic context, and then even more so into music, I understood that words really are what's creating what we see. And as I've gotten older, I've only seen that reinforced by the things that I've written, the things that I've said. As I mentioned, my journals, to see those words come to pass, it's a different type of power to know that if I write this thing, it really can happen. So for me, it's basically become a bridge. I can go anywhere when I write, no matter where it is. As you said, I do a lot of different things. So the words that I read in a script, you know what I'm saying? Or if I'm helping somebody shoot something, those things are what I see, you know? So I feel like those words are truly a gateway to another world. So it keeps me young, but it also keeps me seeking knowledge and wisdom so that I can just get better in my everyday life.
Absolutely. And that's another thing. I'm glad you said that, like being able to be like the manifestation of writing. Like people don't understand, you can write something down, speak it out, and next thing you know, it's appearing in your life on repetition. And same thing, let me introduce Kelby Alese as well. Kelby Alese is also an author, a CEO. She is a phenomenal mother. She's also a businesswoman. She has everything that's going on for herself. She also is a published author and has books of poetry. So I'll make sure that I say that about her as well. And I want to move this over here to Mr. Chris Kaiser. What made you start writing? Chris Kaiser is a writer, director, actor, poet, as well as he got his own show, and he has about 337 poetry books that you can purchase. That's for purchase at any given time. What made you start writing, Mr. Kaiser?
Well, for me, I didn't have any friends as a kid, so I was bored. So I had a pen and paper. I said, let me put it to use. So I started writing things, just writing journals about things I felt as a kid, things I didn't like. When I first started writing poetry, it was because of a girl in the neighborhood, first crush. So it was something that I wanted to do. So from there, I just took it on. I noticed that when I started writing, it was starting to make sense. I was starting to write speeches for other people, and my speech was better than their speeches. Letters for sororities, my letter was better than their letter. I said, you know what? This is a gift I got, so I might as well use it while I still can use it, because I'm gonna get old and I ain't gonna be able to do anything after a while. So here I am, 2 radio shows, an open mic, 13 books, whatever. I'm here, so I love it.
Don't say that you're gonna get old, you ain't gonna be able to do things after a while, because Miss Cicely Tyson worked all the way to 96. Betty White is still working and still in her right mind. So at 96, you can publish your autobiography of work and your anthologies of work and still be out here pumping and making this money. Now, I want to ask you this too, Miss Jayla, just Jayla, who is also a CEO, also a poet, also a motivational speaker, also a consultant, also the CEO of the Diversity Club of everything she go to. And a cold mother, shut your mouth. I'm just talking about Jayla. Jayla, what made you start writing?
Listen, first of all, that just touched my spirit. So I'm trying not to get real giddy because I'm trying to look cool on this nice live. So I'm trying not to get too giddy. But that made me, that touched me. What made me get into writing? I think, to a lot of writers, the words that they just spoke of as far as, being able to unleash your imagination. And I think as a Black child who wasn't really given the space to express self. I had feelings, I had emotions. So I had to write those things down because I had to do something with them, right? So I think that was something that I knew early on as a young child. Like, I do have an imagination, I do have words. I think, once I started to become socialized with these agents of socialization, going into middle school and being able to then understand that words have power. So when the 7th grade teacher wanted to come at me, all kind of, sideways and trying to, belittle me, I knew even in my 12-year-old body that I was important and that I could advocate for myself. So I think words then became powerful for me. I think the writing came in, especially poetry, when my dearest friend, Chris Thomas, Imani, the poet, she is the founder of the Fuck Love Son movement. I don't know how many really old poets we got on this live. I mean, like early 2000 poets. And then my beautiful friend, Lene, who really helped me see myself, not just as a writer, but as a poet. And her name was Chocolate Thunder. She was a poet as well in St. Louis. And it became one of the things that I love to do and what I enjoy. What I will say is that I did understand that this art it was more than me, right? So I write, I get on the stage when I want to. I go into retirement when I want to. I come back because Ervin said, please come back. But just know that you are a writer. And when you are a writer, you can take breaks. You can go on a hiatus.
Yeah.
That is still something that's a part of you. And I'm still doing it. I just do it in different forms now. So.
Yeah, you're doing it in amazing forms. And shout out to Sugar and Yolanda Duncan and Crystal Taylor all the way from Indiana. We see y'all making these comments. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, because here's the thing about it. I tell people like poetry is high level art. And sometimes people don't necessarily understand the echelon of poetry and how high level it can be. Because as artists, we put a mirror in front of the present. We talk about the past and we project the future of what's to come. So in this writing thing and in this space, in this time, just having these conversations, I want to thank you all for what you do, because everybody can't do what we do. A lot of people think they can, but you have to have this tough skin when you're a poet, because here's the thing about it. But every poet on this line know right now, our audience listening, is that we have to have tough skin, because everybody don't like us as a poet. Everybody not gonna like us as a writer. Writing is subjective. And if we write for us, what's up, Jen Cuz? What's up, Shelly? What's up, Alicia? We write for us. And if you happen to like it, that's a blessing. But we started writing to save our own lives. We started writing to manifest our own beliefs. And then it just turned into something different. So with me saying that, I'm going to ask you all a question. Tell me about, I'm going to start it off, and then you all can pick it back off of it. Tell me a time somebody told you couldn't do something, but you did it. I'm going to start. I had a cousin tell me, I never mentioned his name because it's not even worth mentioning their name and bringing that kind of energy to my life. I had a cousin told me that I thought I was smart because I graduated high school, and that I would never finish college because boys in our family don't finish college. Well, thank God we start breaking some generational curses around here. Myself, my cousin Albert, and a few other boys in my family broke them curses around here to get up out of college. So that was one thing that somebody told me, and I wasn't even trying to prove him wrong, but I wanted my degree because it was something that I wanted. What about you? I'm gonna toss it to Chris Kaiseriffic first. What about you?
I had plenty of people tell me that no one in particular. My brother didn't understand why I was into poetry because he didn't understand it, and how could I make money off of it, because he felt like if it didn't make money, it didn't make sense. Right. But I explained to him that I love this. This is my life. This is my way of expression. This is how I get to talk to people without having to talk to people. If I want to read what I write, you know, you can probably hear my words through the pages. So I kept pushing. Every time somebody, even go back to high school, when people tell me you're not gonna win the talent show, you're not gonna do this, I push because that's what
so let me tell y'all. Paul, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me tell y'all this. Listen, so I'm going off a tangent. I'm gonna cut you off. You brought that up so I can talk about it. First time I met Chris Kaiser, true story. You hear me? Somebody said, "Yo, this dude does Michael Jackson." So I'm thinking like, "Oh, he sings like Michael Jackson." No, sir. Chris Kaiser came to our talent show back in, we ain't gonna say our age because they don't even know that, but back in the day, Normandy used to have some of the best talent shows in the city of St. Louis. This brother comes out, he does Smooth Criminal, y'all. He got the tuxedo on, the white patch, the hat, the two dancers in the back, the fucking smoke machine. He did the whole lean, you know, the you've been struck back. He had the lights going off, you've been struck back, pop, pop. I knew then, I said, oh, he is a problem. Do you hear me? So this boy was cold back then. I just want to tell that story, Chris. You can finish talking about what you said, sorry.
But yeah, it was so long ago. I got one talent for another talent. But the thing is, people always told me what I couldn't do. And when I did it, I proved them wrong. They couldn't do nothing but have a sorry look on their face. So, but you was
and how many times did you win that talent show? Like 3, 4 times?
I won 2 out of 3. My sophomore, junior. I didn't win my senior year. No.
But you came back as a special guest after he graduated high school. He became a special guest. And you forget what I remember. What about you, Miss Kelby Alese? What about you?
I don't really let people tell me what I can and can't do.
Come on.
And I've been like that for a long time because most times when a person is telling you what you can't do, it's their vision, their perception. It's not mine.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm capable of. And if it's something that I feel like I'm not really sure about this, I'm still going to try it. You know, all you have to do at that point is use your resources. So yeah, I just get it done.
That's what's up. What about you, Jay Lene?
I think for me, it's been pretty much understanding that I co-create my life, right? And, you know, St. Louis, born and raised, St. Louis to the day I die. But I had to explore other cities. And when I moved to Atlanta in 2010, I remember a really close friend of mine saying, oh yeah, that's great. You know, go to Atlanta, you know, see what the feel is like. And then she said, but you'll come home. She said, they always come back. And if I would have internalized that at the time, I would have possibly have gone back. So to that young sister's point, it's like, you can say things to me all day. And you know, you just have to be careful not to internalize them. So 2010 moved to Atlanta, 2017 moved to San Francisco, 2019 moved to LA. I still love St. Louis. I think I had to get that foundation in St. Louis before moving to other cities, because if you move to another city, you know that your St. Louis mentality, being able to see things before people can see them, having, you know, that intuition kick in, and it's just like, you got to show me, not just say those things. And it's helped me tremendously, especially moving to the West Coast, right? So, but I would just
everybody knows somebody, and everybody's super famous, and everybody's cousins is a superstar.
And I could care less. Who are you? Who are you to your core? I want to know the real you. So it's like that bullshit detector comes out. You know, I love the weather, I love the water, but again, if I didn't have that foundation, you know, who knows? But yeah, I would say my move.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that, because when you live out of town, like I'm currently living in Atlanta right now, you don't even realize, like people from St. Louis, we don't even realize how gangster we are until we put in situations where we don't have to be gangster. Like, wait a minute. So I don't have to fight nobody here today? Oh, okay, this is what a conversation looks like. This is how a disagreement works. Nobody told me. In St. Louis, we banging a knob. We fighting a knob. What we doing? All right, what about you, Darius, Marcel, Hagens? What about you?
Man, that's been my whole life. I am the baby of all the siblings. And there's 22 years between me and my eldest sibling. So when I say I came in and I was in a whole different realm of thought than they were, like I see the world differently. So I've always been able to do what's popular. So I played basketball, I played football, but I also played baseball, soccer, and swimming, and all this stuff that my family like, what are you doing? That doesn't make sense. It's like, just because that's what you love, I can do that and this. Same thing with theater. I went to theater. You already know theater in a Black household, they don't get that. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you hear me? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was always that, but even more recently, the thing that stands out to me the most would be my business, and my business that has changed my life, which is my production company. I remember when I first was starting off, there were people that were telling me that I was only taking pictures for immature regions. I wanted to take pictures of naked girls and all this. And it's like, really? That's how small your mind works. And it's like, if you only knew that I'm using this camera to capture history, you know what I'm saying? Like to literally showcase what I see in this world. So it's like literally to be on March 16th, it'll be 5 years of me getting fired at 10:49 a.m. I know the exact time. That was the last time I clocked out of a corporate job, and I'll never go back. And the thing is, like, walking this path is so amazing because it's like I'm not doing it because somebody said I couldn't do it. I'm doing it because I know that I can do it. But it is an added bonus to know that those people will eat their words, because the very thing they doubted is how I will feed them one day.
Yeah, absolutely. That part right there. Y'all shoot some hearts up for Darius on that. That part right there. What about you, Mr. Casso?
I was never supposed to make it from off of Cora and Colbrillion on the north side. Like my family had very low hopes for me from the outset. So like to piggyback off something that was said earlier, I don't do what I can't do very well. I don't really listen to nobody telling me what I can and cannot do so well. I've taken great pride in just proving people wrong. Like my whole life, it's sort of how half my life has been built. It's proving people that they're wrong about little old me.
You say so
It's always being prepared to do more. Like people can be smarter, they can be faster, but most people don't do the work. Most people I don't really believe in getting outworked.
One of my favorite quotes is by Maya Angelou, and I said all the time, what people think about you isn't any of your business. If we just take that, if we just walk with that, like what people think about you, let me tell you, I've been called everything except the son of God, and I've probably been called the son of God once or twice. But like you said, I don't internalize that because I know what I'm sitting here for. I know what I was put here, what mission I am, and I am a person that's coming to bring my family out of poverty, bring them ahead spiritually, mentally, and physically. And nothing you say or can or do to me is going to stop that. Like that's the way I walk through life, period. My sister would tell y'all, I've always walked to a different beat, a different drum. I don't care what nobody think about me in the room because I'm not trying to impress nobody but my God and myself. Everybody else take a ticket, like take a number. You get what I'm saying?
I think the important part too, I want to bring this in too, to actually surround yourself with people with similar mentalities, right?
Yes.
So all the things that we're talking about, not internalizing things, I co-create my life. This may be atypical for you, but I'm going to show you that this is my, God divine right, like what I do, how I live, how I express myself. You got to surround yourself with like-minded people because you can't do it all by yourself. That's one thing that I've learned is that I'm not an island, even though I try to pretend to be. But I can't do this by myself. But I have to, surround myself with like-minded people that want to push themselves. I talk to Ervin, you see me right through that phone sometimes. And I know you get the same, energy, right? And that's how we feed off of each other. And I think that's important, again, with a group of folks like yourselves, strengths are in number, especially with the energy that we can project.
And I'm glad you said it because you have to surround yourself with people that's going to cheerlead you too. People that's going to root for you even when you're not rooting for yourself. That is very important. Like root for you, go do it. Like don't put yourself around people who are afraid to live their lives. What I found out is that people who are afraid to live their lives will do everything to try to jeopardize yours. And this little old white lady put it to me beautiful. And I wish I knew her name because I never can give her credit for it. She said, there are people in the world, there are butterflies, and there are flowers. Both are beautiful, but some flowers stay planted and they reach for the sun to show the sun how beautiful they are. But there are some people in lives who are butterflies, and the butterfly job is to go around the world and see how beautiful it is and come back and report to the flower that there's more out there. You get what I'm saying? So look at your life like that. Let's get to the part where people come in, they tune in every Sunday to hear some people spit. So I'm going to have Tony go first. I'm going to have Kelby Alese go second. And I'm going to put Chris Kaiser. Yes.
I'm trying to pull it up.
Well, we're going to pull it up. So let's switch. He's trying to play you, Kaiseriffic. So we're going to have Kaiseriffic first, Kelby Alese second, and then Casso third. And you all can... everybody that's listening to the poem, if you like the poem, if you like what you're hearing right now, make sure you hit everybody Cash App. I made sure I put them in all caps so you all can see it. So Chris Kaiser, spit that hot shit.
Every 365 days, I think about love, life, and matter. See, nobody's preaching about world peace. More destruction is happening in these streets. I'm tired of seeing my people being abused by the police. Where's the love that conquers hate? Where are my people that walk in spiritual faith? And not the ones that have us with the religious convictions. Continue to kill one another, become a daily addiction. We are at ends with souls lost, lives gone every day at the cost. Politicians make this subject small talk. And they don't even know our name, but we point the finger to blame. So who's going to come up with a solution? Fuck that. Every 365 days, I think about love, life, and matter. What happened to real love? People base love off of reality TV. Scripted love is not a new in thing. Relationships spread all over social media. People smile in your face with free meals. Spend a little time talking of lies, but when the night is over, booty calls never die. And the story of true love and relationships are now files classified. Fuck that. Every 365 days, I think about love, life, and matter. See, I'm living this life, this poetry life. I'm loving this life, this poetry life. And when these jokers try to crack on me, I remind them that they can't break me. I don't give a care if you don't feel me. This is Kaiseriffic in full effect, also known as Mr. IBGAF. So when you come to that new shit on March 26th, I'll be the host that says, fuck that. That's that piece.
Yeah, come on through, Chris. Come on through, Chris. I mean, Mr. Kaiseriffic, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying so hard.
You know me forever, so yeah.
Hey, y'all, send some hearts up for Mr. Kaiseriffic, please. Let's see. Kelby Alese, what you got for us? Spit that hot shit.
So this is kind of like what we were just talking about. The name of it is called Opportunity. And basically, no matter who this person is, said person is that I'm getting ready to speak about, you don't let anybody take your opportunity, you or your opportunity.
Absolutely.
Okay, here goes. A motherfucker will be like, yeah, I got you because we rock like that. Then sell the rock and get their profits back. They own the return, they just turn their back. You keep working hard thinking you can add. They don't want your math, just your place held fast. Zeros on zeros on zeros equal acres of land. You in the master's race where you can't run that fast. Maybe you should fast on those who wear masks. Knowing the difference between a grin and a smile will one day save your ass. Don't let shit get past, but don't give them gas. Just learn the difference in the way that they shake your hand. That's that piece.
Yo, that's a word.
Thank you. Look at these reactions.
That's a word. You hear me? Like, know the difference between a grin and a smile? Smiling faces.
Okay.
Sometimes. Right. Listen, how many of us have dealt with those kind of people who this is what's crazy about it. And I'm going to go on this tangent. I'm going to go to you, Tony. I mean, Mr. Casso. What's crazy about it, when you have the gift of discernment and when you are an empath and when you have intuition, these people come at you like you don't know they lying. And you just sit there like, oh, you think I don't know that you lying. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Go on there and spit that hot shit, Mr. Casso.
This piece is entitled Rhyme on Rhyme. Whenever my computer will let me just do this, just fine, just fine. Ain't no music like the St. Louis Blues. Some can sing and some can just hold a tune. You shoot for the stars and you land on the moon. And if you croon like you want to croon, you might can make the whole world move. Can you dig it? Like Isaac Hazer, seeing the sun poke out on cloudy days, fine kush weed to get you lost in a haze and a cloud of smoke so thick nobody find your ass for days. Have you praising the most high for being the most high, like my oh my, like Superfly. Wise old winos know it's why ask why, and you reach for the sky. Because sometimes it's better to be hard than kind. There's some people I can't remember that I go way back with, like the sands of time. And sad motherfucker's favorite line is to say that everything is fine. It's like rhyme on rhyme. Like breeze is blowing through fine Georgia pine. My mama once told me, son, you'll be just fine. Just break this shit down, line by line. Stand up straight. How strong is your spine? You might have scoliosis or osmosis or halitosis. Who knows this? Some things are atrocious, are made of magic like hocus pocus, but you gotta stay focused, poised, and ready for the mostest, like rhyme on rhyme, or time on time.
Yeah. Come through. Good job, guys. Hey, I love all three of those pieces, like straight up. I love what you all are talking about, what you're doing. Yo, if y'all love these poets, make sure you hit that Cash App. If it's $1, a quarter, a nickel, 3 cents, whatever you have to spare, shoot these poets, because this poetry ain't free. And let me shout out Real STL News for presenting this platform to us. Cameron specifically for making sure that our show go up. Even though Facebook closed down my page on some fugazi stuff, I'm bringing it back. Some fugazi stuff. And there's somebody in this room specifically I want to shout out. This woman always support you. She is always in my corner. She always show up. Miss Felicia Mitchell, I would be remiss. Miss Felicia Mitchell Hampton, I would be remiss not to say thank you. And I'm shouting you out because I love you, because she always support. She always show up to events, and she's always there without me asking her. So shout out to you, Miss Felicia, and Real STL News, always being there. Shout out to Jimmy Hart and everybody else. So let's get back to this interview. Shout out to these poets that didn't come to play today. Let's get to these interviews. So I'm gonna ask y'all a silly question. Do you ever Google yourself?
Yeah.
You got to.
Often.
What did you find? Tell me something. Like, I Googled myself a few times and I get mad because I will find like videos of me performing in like Connecticut or something, but nobody ever tagged me in said video, but my name is on the Google. Like, how does that work? What have you found out Googling yourself? Anybody?
Photos.
I see more one of my stage name than I do my name.
Pictures I didn't want found.
Don't say that, because now I'm after Google. Don't have me Googling y'all too, because I'm ignorant. I would Google you, snap the picture, and be like, so this you, Darius, in 1990.
I think it depends. Like, I mean, I'm dating myself, but if I Google myself, like Jay Lene, a MySpace video might pop up. So of course, you go on MySpace, the file is all corrupt and all that other type of stuff. So it just really depends, But last time I did that, that's what happened.
Listen, y'all, Jay used to come into poetry spots with her blazers on and her scarves wrapped around her neck.
And you did the same thing, because we're not going to talk about Kuma's Cafe. Now, we got time to talk about Kuma's Cafe? Okay, yeah, we got time. So, first time I met Ervin, Sir ErvinJWilliams III. It was at Kuma's Cafe. I'm at the Kuma's Cafe. I think it was a Harris-Stowe Productions, because that's Mr. Harris-Stowe.
HSSU.
Or whatever. And I just remember somebody was on stage and I'm in the audience, and then all of a sudden, forget the person on stage, this man, this figure, this myth comes into the room and the whole audience shifted. Now here I am, because I'm a skeptic. I'm like, now what deserves all this attention? So he comes in and he just got his hat cocked up, because we like to wear the same newsboy. He had his outfit on, had on the pea coat and everything. And when he got on the stage, I understood why that attention shifted. But what I really enjoyed and loved about this brother when I first met him is when I was on the stage, because I write in prose. So my writing method may not be your typical performative type of spoken word method. He was locked in on everything that I said because he listened to me. And when I understood that he could understand what words are and how powerful they are, he saw me on that stage and we became like inseparable. But that's how I met this brother. So don't talk about my blazers when you had a full-length peacoat and you had an ascot on and some chucks, and people was just, I don't know, like they just couldn't, the gaze was everything. Like I had never experienced anything like that in my life, but it was
Did you
more
say ascot? You was a lot.
an ascot. Yeah, I made it. It looked like an ascot from where I was sitting. So anyway, we're not going to talk about all of that right now. We can get into that later on.
Hey, that's funny. That's funny because that's low key a true story. That is a true story.
Yeah.
What I was about to say,
Right
you know,
down
threw me
to
off.
the ascot.
You say what?
I just said right down to the ascot.
Right down.
Ascot. That's funny. Now, a question for you. I'm gonna ask you all this. Anybody can jump in at this time. Whoever feel like speaking. So, what writers do you identify with through history? What are some of the writers that you identify with throughout history? And they don't have to be famous either.
For me, it's Alex Haley.
Why is that?
When I first watched Roots, and I went and got the book afterwards because I know the movie held so much contained, and then the book has so much more detail. It just seemed like with Alex, when he writes he writes passionately, like he wants you to hear the story as he wrote it the way he did. And I wanted to take after that. So when people read my stuff, I want to feel like you're there at the moment of the storyline. So for him, it was just, I was just fascinated.
Awesome. What about you? Who else?
I usually identify, like I like more seasoned poets because they bring that wisdom, but I also really, really like young and raw poets when they come to the scene because they bring so many things that you might not have been thinking about because it's new for them. It's their first time getting up there. It's that raw talent. It's that I've been sitting at home waiting to get this off my chest and nobody heard me, but now I'm spitting this shit. So I really identify with them because it brings you to a moment where you felt that same emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Casso?
Let's see, like I really like James Baldwin's early work, like a whole lot.
Yes.
Like just that freeform style of writing, like telling the full unmitigated truth, painting the picture. Like always been very important to me. I also like Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Yeah.
Robert Greene, the guy who wrote isn't that his name? Guy who wrote the 48 Laws of Power. That I think he's a very knowledgeable person. Like and being able to take all of that history and amalgamize it and call that a business book is amazing.
Yeah. What about you, Darius? That's real right there. Because I will talk about that later. What about you, Darius?
I find myself identifying more from the music standpoint. Like when I write, like of course it started off in just poetry, you know what I'm saying? So the earlier days, you know, Langston Hughes and things like that, and really seeing how poetry looks, like the way he wrote such a classic style and starting there. But then like once I started delving into music, man, I feel like that to me, hip hop literally breaks all the rules while keeping the rules at the same time. And that's like beyond fascinating to me. So you look at the, you know, of course you got your Tupacs and all that type of stuff. Like my brother lived in Cali when he was in the service. So when I was little, we used to ride around St. Louis in a white Beamer, listening to Pac like we was riding through.
But why did you do an LA accent with your Beamer?
Exactly. That's how it was, bro. So it's like, there was that, but then at the same time having my own love for words. So the Andre 3000s and Jay-Z's and Eminems, and nowadays you got your J. Cole's, your Kendricks, and just like really understanding how people connect words. It is the dopest thing in the world. And then by them putting it to music, that's how my brain works as a writer. Even if I'm writing a regular story, by me being a person who makes film now, I hear the music as I'm writing. So there's a rhythm of how somebody needs to talk this and how it's going to be paced. So that's very much how I approach it, is from that musical aspect.
Absolutely. And what about you, Miss J. Lene?
Yeah, I just want to, I mean, Darius talked about the musical aspect. I will say for me, when I was really like on the scene, the spoken word scene, Lupe Fiasco. Liquor. And that album, I mean, he's an imagist. So I love to use falling metaphors. I love prose. I love taking inanimate objects and making them come to life.
Personification.
I love like take me somewhere with this. Like I love a dead metaphor. Like I want it to fall, you know, and just drop at the bottom and I get it. I will also say, you know, Robert Frost was a dope imagist poet. Mother Sonia Sanchez basically gave me the courage to continue to read off paper. We'll get into that in a minute. You know, I think there's a difference between a writer and a performer. When you fuse the two together, you know, you can get a poet, but you know, sometimes your paper, like Sonia Sanchez said, that's your portal. And that's why I read off paper. Proud paper poet. We'll get into that later. Jessica Caremore.
Yes, I mentioned her last week.
Who else? Gosh, just so many. Lucille Clifton. Like I love Gwendolyn Brooks. I love imagery. And I can go on, but yeah, those are some people that.
And that thing about it, like, and that's what I explain to my students is like, nobody ever told me I was a writer. It took me until I was about 27 to go, oh, that's what you are. Ding. That's what it is. Because when you don't see yourself in literature, like when I was coming up, I was blessed that we had fantastic. Shout out to Miss Dossie Edwards, Miss Clark, Miss Barbara Moden, Miss Sharp. We had some of the dopest English teachers at Normandy Senior and high school and middle school. When I tell you, we were introduced to Richard Wright, James Baldwin, County Cullen, Paul Laurence Dunbar. Like I started seeing Black males, James Baldwin, Langston Hughes, just seeing Black males as writers, because in school, unfortunately, if you're a Black boy, you only have two choices: one, to be an intellectual, or to be an athlete. It was very seldom you found a Darius, Marcel, Hagens who did both of them very well. And that student wasn't necessarily catapulted to the star fame until he started being an athlete. And when you're walking around, you are an intellectual, but there's no one, there isn't anyone to have intellectual prowess conversations with in your school, because you're supposed to be running a football, 6 foot, 180-pound boy. You're supposed to be running a football, not talking about dissertations and stuff like that. So we're gonna get into it. Let's go, because we haven't heard from Jay Lene or Darius Marcel Hagens. So we first up, we're gonna put to bat, we're gonna put Darius Marcel Hagens to bat, and then we're gonna put Jay Lene. Once again, if you write the poems they're about to spit, make sure you hit they Cash App. Go spit it, Darius Marcel Hagens.
All right, I call this one Man to God. So in need of answers, I turn to him who you ask, him being the ultimate him, the Lord thy God. And we had the conversation of a lifetime. I have to admit, on my mind were 1,000 questions, and here's were the answers to each one before I asked. He gave me the privilege to speak nonetheless. And yes, I felt blessed with each invested second that passed, because the knowledge he shared flowed so long, so vast. I was a sponge. I wanted to soak it all in. He told me to tell all the ones I care for that I love them, and the ones that I love, I care for the most, that I love them more than the universe itself, because despite the intimacy of our conversation, he could not disclose to me the information of when our time was no more. I understood. He told me to tell you, my fellow brothers and sisters, that a life of mediocrity is not living through me. He said, I'm not telling them to join the army, but they do need to be all they can be. I laughed for a second and said, that's deep. He said, what did you expect? It's me. Then the mood changed. He could sense the thoughts I was harboring. He then said, let love live because your paths are entwined. He said, let love blossom because its heart is as pure as mine's. And he said, let love be free because only through its liberation can you fall deeply in due time. I then smiled, paused, then asked, you know, don't you? He said, of course. Just tell you know who that your love is real, and be sure to instill that you love through me, so the bond that you share is poetic and the closest to heaven that you'll be without seeing me. I was reassured. I then inquired, why is it so hard? He said, I treat you, my children, like taste buds and allow for the saltier, more bitter parts of life to be devoured, because it is my sincere promise that in this heavenly hour, sweet is so much sweeter after sour. Yes.
Bring it back to
Did I break
taste
up?
buds. You start breaking up real bad. Bring it back to taste buds.
I'm sorry. I then inquired, why is life so hard? He said, I treat you, my children, like taste buds and allow for the saltier and more bitter parts of life to be devoured by you, because it is my sincerest promise that in this heavenly hour, sweet is so much sweeter after sour. So dine in the feast I've bestowed before you, because the last course is your favorite dish baked by your favorite girl. I was ecstatic because I knew how sweet it would be. Lastly, he told me, when it is him you seek, don't expect him to deliver the answers in audible form. He lives in the silence. That's why when your mind runs wild when the noise halts and you see the emergence of your best ideas and deepest thoughts. And if you ever take a step back and think about it, it's never more loud than when it's quiet. I was enlightened.
That is dope. That is dope. I treat you like your taste bud. And then you said, you had a line that you just said, sweeter is sweeter after you taste the sour. Yeah, I listen. Like I listen as a writer, as a poet, dope poem. I listen. Somebody just asked the question, as a poet, do you all have problems with being long-winded? Absolutely not. Listen, you can write let me go into this before you get into yours, Jayla.
Yeah.
The spoken word scene, and specifically some of the poetry slams, have given off this this image that your poem should be 3 minutes or less. That's not true. You can write a 20-minute poem. You can write Shakespeare wrote entire plays of poetry. So your poem can be as long as you want your poem to be, or as short as you want it to be. You can do a haiku, or you can do a one-line poem. You can do a one-line novel. I can't even think of it right now. Not Dickerson. Who is the one who wrote the one-line novel? Come on, Casso. You help me out. They said he can write a story. A man bet him $100. He couldn't write a novel in one sentence. And he said, baby shoes found on the floor, never worn before, never worn again. Or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we'll think of it. Somebody Google that out there. Somebody wrote that. All right, what about you, Miss Jayla Nay? Spit that hot shit.
Hot shit. So speaking
I'm going
of
down.
Right. I think, yeah, speaking of what you were saying, as far as, writing comes in so many different forms, you know, so I think, if you have your method of the way you write, what you envision, put it on paper and do your thing. So this piece, it's called Africa.
Okay.
All right. Africa is herself a mother, the mother of mankind. Dr. Maya Angelou spit that. Africa is herself a mother, yet America has never pledged allegiance to her. America has never pledged allegiance to her clouds of aging gracefully, civilization's dust prints on sand dunes, Sahara stars, heavy ambrosia, perfume wrists draped in Cleopatra's bangles. Africa was a natural starry-eyed spangle. The first Mrs. Universe scoring a perfect 10 pyramids as 6 continental judges wept 70% oceans when her firstborn was delivered under a shade tree on the maternity leave's equator banner of Marcus Garvey's First Love, Africa. Oh, say, can you see a blind lullaby? Children, go where Africa sends thee. New birth earth wrapped in swaddling clothing by dawn's early light, can you see? Sweatshop, sweat beads during Mother Earth's natural childbirth, labor. Africa named her crying River Nile. Africa, a true blue lioness of her teach a village to raise a child. Pride stood on Tanzania thighs of meek monstrosity. And Africa fed the children before feed the children. And America, oh beautiful for spacious skies, America never pledged allegiance to her. The soul to slavery made Africa's native 2,000 languages, tongue of familiar foreigner, a surrogate child bearer in North Outer Space America. She, the African Eve, she 9 months and 36 sugarcane season needs, Africa no Eve. While her brass feet Adam hung from the tree of miseducation and America's hot apple pies in Forgive Us, Lord, Georgia. Mother's Africa's belly Swahili swollen. Africa's stretch marks traced around her third trimester's globe as long as the transcontinental railroad that toted America's emotional baggage after her Great Britain breakup during her independence in 1776. Africa, her belly solidified strength. From the sun Sleeping from both eyes open in the sketch of manifest destiny brought no Kleenex to the whimpering rows of blood-stained cotton fields. Africa, rubbing her belly to sleep, she cradled and rocked cheap manual labor for warm-blooded leeches, the 13 blood-sucking colonies who were unfaithful fetuses. 20 full moon shades sunnier than 40 brown paper bag tests. Africa's Garden of Eden's womb of plenty attached to her South African gold umbilical cord, North America prosperity. Africa biologically birthed a red, white, and blue nation whose eyes twinkled 50 stars and whose greed was as green as Mount Kilimanjaro's healthy mane. They killed Africa loudly with the fear of Christianity's communion to the KKK. They killed Africa loudly when Massa planted his seed for his tragic mulatto family tree with sadistic semen that dusted Don Knight when he blew down her slave quarters door and her hymen. With one moonshine's 1/5 of a blink, Africa wore a nappy-headed crown of 1,000 thorns and was force-fed the King James Bible versions by Southern backwards Baptists who gambled slave ship souls on the Sabbath roulette wheel, blinded by Vegas lights. And see, Africa was double-crossed with holy crosses in North America's Hell's Kitchen Confederate flag heaven. And Africa waded in the water while praying for sweet chariots. Africa, Africa is your mother. And America never pledged allegiance to her since the beginning of her time.
Wow.
That piece.
Oh man.
That's why I say,
Okay.
I don't care if it's long-winded.
Yes.
I don't care if you gotta go back and ask me to repeat what I said.
Yeah.
Man.
Spit your piece.
It's your piece.
Everything
Did
that
you
I've
say-
heard, everything I've heard on this platform, I felt something from. And that's the power of writing. That's the power of your voice. And if you can just touch one person or one person hears something different, you done your job.
You've done your job. Did you say, because you know I'll be listening. Did you say she gave birth to 13 unfaithful fetuses? Did you say as they, I was listening. I will punch you in your face. This thing about, like she just said, like, you don't have to be a Sonia Sanchez or a Jessica Caramore. You can be a Jay Lene. You can be a Casso. You can be a Kaiseriffic. You can be a Kelby Alese. You can be a Darius Marcel Hagens. You don't have to be anybody else out there as a poet but yourself. You hear me? And I'm glad you just did that poem because it brings me into the question I want to ask you all about this insurrection. So the question I want to ask you, and everybody don't have to answer, and shout out to Jim Hutt, Leisha, Shay Brown. We see you all in the room. Everybody don't have to answer. What do you think about this insurrection? The question I'm going to ask, let me ask this question, and I'm not even going to ask this question. I'm going to change the question. With this insurrection, what are some things you think we need to do as the country of America, of the United States of America? What do you think we need to do to start rectifying some of the things that are going on within our political atmosphere and community? Let me repeat that. In America, what do you think are some of the things that we can do to help rectify what is going on in our political atmosphere in America, specifically with Black people? And I'm going to send this first question to Casso.
Of course, of course. Honest to goodness, I cannot say this enough. It all starts locally. All starts within the community. Like real change always made on your own streets, on your own blocks. Like we as Black people, and we have to take way more control over our communities, especially when it comes to these local elections. Because like it's far and in between. Like right now on the South Side, you got Dan Gunther wants to be the alderman here. He has done absolutely nothing as far as I'm concerned with Dutchtown. Like, and he's basically like, that's where it starts for me. Like for real, like local elections are important and we will bypass them completely.
So I'm going to go to this queue because you brought this up. What do you say to a person who doesn't believe in the voting system, who don't believe that, you know, voting in your local elections is going to improve anything? And I'm playing devil's advocate right now because they have a just point. If you are from Northside St. Louis, like I am, and you are as well, Casso, we've literally, and you as well, Darius, and you too, Kelby, We've literally watched this city go down for the last 40 years. And we're always told it's local elections, and we get out there and we elect people to represent us and to change the community, but yet it is still the same. And I know you all have y'all mayor election coming up on what, Tuesday or Wednesday? So it is vital. So what do you say to somebody who is jaded about voting because they vote and they vote and they vote and their neighborhoods look exactly the same? I'm asking you, Casso, because you brought that point.
You asking me?
Yeah, it was your point.
Oh, shoot.
Like, wait a minute, I wasn't ready for a follow-up, teacher.
What I say to someone that's jaded about voting in local elections, like nothing happens until something moves, is what Einstein said. So we have to start moving things for things to actually change. And like, I don't know what to say or do to make people care about voting in their local elections, because that's how streets get paved. That's how we get funding for schools sometimes. Like, I don't know if maybe we're not pushing those aspects of it, but we definitely should be.
Absolutely. What do you think, Darius? I see your hand. Your hand's doing this. I told you I'll be upstairs in 13 minutes now.
I'm gonna tell you this. Like for me, what I've discovered that my goal, because I believe that is one of the most important things, is media. I believe that from a Black lens, we have to create media to rebrand our self-image. I believe that most people, especially the younger generation after us, they are being done a disservice because the people that are being pushed to the forefront are not helping them actually see who they really are. They're keeping them distracted. Some of that is part of the system. Some of that is just pure choice. But I believe that as a person that creates media, if we actually rebrand ourselves and people could see us in a light that is our truest light, and show people that, like you were talking about earlier, being a poet and liking words or being an intellectual is cool. That's what gets you the bag. It's not stupid people that get the bag. It's the people that are intelligent. It's those people that know how to use their mind and understand how to interact with people and know themselves in any room. Those are the people who are going to be successful. So I believe if we can push out media that allows for people to see that and unsubscribe to everything that does not look like that, with no apologies, dry it up, just cancel your Netflix, like whatever the case is.
When you make that statement, I'm gonna offer some pushback on it, because like I said before, I'm here to play devil's advocate. When you make that statement about rebranding ourselves, are you rebranding ourselves for African American or for Black people in America, or are we rebranding ourselves on how the way other people see Black people in America?
No, I mean the way that we see ourselves.
Absolutely.
That starts first.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest issue. It's always the situation where we're trying to do this. Oh, everybody, let's all change the world. No, everything starts with one person, one of something. You cannot change something if you don't change first. So that change that I'm speaking of is something that I'm doing myself actively in my life, and I'm partnering with people who are doing the same. And the ability and the power that I'm watching us have, just a few people. So I'm like, what if everybody was on one accord? What was everybody was thinking? Yo, let me give my best. Let me protect my brother. Let me love my sister who is not my blood. She's not blood, but I'm still going to look out for her, because this is a situation where she needs to be looked out for. That's part of rebranding and not seeing somebody as a catch.
Yeah.
She's not just a catch.
Enemy, because you've been taught to believe.
Yeah.
You've been taught to believe that your dark skin is the demon and you must kill it and destroy it. So you've been taught to hate the God inside of yourself. Absolutely. I just wanted you to clarify that for people who would have asked that. What about you, Kaiseriffic?
I agree mostly with everybody. We do have to start with ourselves first. We have to look at what we're doing that's not looking right, and try to find ways to fix it. We need more unity. We need more love. I mean, if we can find a way to just like, if I can talk to you without you feeling offended, and I'm trying to open up to you to make sure that we can have an understanding without it turning violent, that's a start for change right there. I had a hard time dealing with change coming up. but I love change now, and I love what we can do with change. We can do so much more if we actually listen to each other and talk with each other and try to understand where we're going with things. I mean, I always feel if everybody got out their door, every Black person walk out their door today and from all around the world and walk to the nation's capital, just leave your homes, just go right there to it. It can make a big difference. It really can make a big difference.
I think that's, and I'm offering, because everybody's answered this question, just to let you know I'm offering pushback on everybody's question, because all of us have been in rooms where we've had these conversations, and we've had these conversations, and we've had these conversations, and we've had these conversations about the conversation at the table. And so the question I would ask you is, because what is right for me may not be right for Kaiseriffic. So how do we start to build that communication, that olive branch between each other? Because, and I'm not going to use these trite comments like, we have too many workers and not enough CEOs, or too many CEOs, not enough workers. But how can we put our God aside? Let me tell y'all this story before I go any further. In Chicago, in the late 80s, early 90s, all of the gangs in Chicago got together, right? They said, we're going to form a bond together, and we're not going to kill each other because you're crippled blood of folk or whatever. We're going to retaliate against these police officers who have been brutalized in the neighborhood. They knocked off about 4 or 5 police officers before police officers stopped killing gang members for no reason. I'm not an advocate for murdering anybody. Let me make sure I say that on this platform right now. But what is it going to take for us? I'm asking you this, Chris, as for Black people to say, yo, because we control the tempo of everything. What is it going to take for us? And it's not just one answer. I just want your opinion on it. What is it going to take for us to start the conversation where everybody needs to move left right now? And we'll talk about why we left when we get there.
I would say when it's time to vote, come together. Something needs to be done. To me, we can start working on rebuilding the community. There's, like you said, North St. Louis has gone down. Maybe we can go there and start rehabbing and cleaning up. And maybe that way we can talk with each other and say, hey, we need to keep this neighborhood together. We need to clean it up. Something to kick it off. I was just saying we need to come together for something. For the most part, yeah.
I feel you. What about you, Kelby?
I think one of the main things for ourselves as Black people and in politics is that fear is the main thing that keeps us from moving forward. Yes. Fear of ourselves and what we're capable of, because you might know to your core that you should be in public speaking and you should be steering the masses in their direction, but you also know the spotlight that's gonna put your family under, and how people gonna come at you. So I think sometimes it's fear. I think it's also fear of being killed. Like, you might know that you can go out there and make people go in the direction that Kaiser is saying. You might be able to help people with forming together in the communities and all of that. You might be able to help with the media, all of that. But if you feel like once I get out here and start doing this, somebody's gonna kill me, it makes a difference if you have other people who eat with you, if you have little faces that look up to you. So it's not so much that we don't want to do it, that we don't have the people that have the ability to do it. I think that we are all not on the same page. We're not united enough to make a real change right now. And until we have those real conversations, everybody, until we get a way for us to communicate without Facebook being in between what we're saying, until we have those channels just for us, then it's not going to be a change in politics. It don't matter who you have sitting in that office, sitting in that seat, if their color is the only thing that represents you. You know what I'm saying? Everything about what they're doing has to represent the change that we all want to see. And we all know right now, them people sitting in places, all of them ain't there for our change.
Because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And like, you're absolutely right. I'm gonna provide some pushback on that too, because like you said, we have to, you reminded me of something that Fannie Lou Hamer said years ago when she said, one flea biting a dog means nothing, but we all need to become a mighty group of fleas and attack that dog at the same time. And I think what we need to do as Black people specifically, thank you for your comment, Mr. Jim and Ms. Ranisha too, because Ms. Ranisha said everybody ain't gonna move, not now though, and that has to be okay, and that's the truth.
That's true.
Frederick Douglass did this speech in front of 10,000 men, and he said, how many of you all want freedom? And all 10,000 raised their hand. And he said, how many of you willing to die for it? 1,000 of them put their hands down. He told the 9,000 to step forward. He said, the first thing we must do is kill that 1,000. In that kind of thinking, it's like you either rolling with us or you not rolling with us at all. But we have to, I'm not even gonna get on this because we have a whole nother show going on right now. What about you, Ms. J. Lene?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I was just thinking to myself, like, I think, because you're making a point about respecting each other, right? So my thing is, everybody needs to know their role, and they need to play their position very well. Okay, so what my Black activism looks like might be different from someone else. I'll give you an example. So when I lived in Atlanta, I knew a lot of Black women, queer, trans, everybody coming together, hitting the streets, marching, doing all those things, right? That's not my position. That's not the position that I play. But within corporate America, please believe what you're doing on the periphery, I'm raising hell inside these four walls. I'm becoming the equalizer. You know, I'm speaking for the voiceless. I'm advocating.
Explain to them what you do, Jay.
So I own my own business now. So the Booker Group, it's an executive recruitment firm and a diversity and inclusion consulting firm. So clients hire me to help diversify their workforce. And then I also go in there and I champion for corporate social justice. That means that I am there to break down power systems. I am there to make sure that you have a fair performance management process. I am there to reduce the psychological harm that is done to Black people within these spaces, okay? So that's what my activism looks like. I may not be at every march, but please believe I'm activating my activism at the position that I'm playing, like trying to make sure that we get visibility and accessibility to positions. Right now, I'm focused on clean energy. Clean energy is the next big tech. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if y'all don't go and start investing in clean tech and clean energy, you're gonna be behind in that area of focus right now for, you know, globalization in that space, right? So I'm here to educate. I'm here to also learn, but I think we need to respect each other's position and know your position and play it well, but we got to respect everybody's position.
I love that answer, and I love, like you said before, I love that you do diversity and inclusion, and I want to offer push back on that, because what do you say to the people? Oh, I'm about to get deep right now, and I'm not trying to start anything, but I'm going to say this question because, like I said, I'm very privy to be in different rooms to different people. Shout out with January Starburst. That's my sister. That's my big sister. What's up to my brother, Mr. Aaron Willis. Thank y'all for tuning in. But I'm going to start this conversation because you have people, and I love that you are in that position doing what you're doing. You know, Jay, all of us, everybody on here, we've had these conversations off this line. But what do you say to the people, Jay, who said that diversity and inclusion is what's killing us in corporate America, what's killing us in society, because we're trying to include everybody in what we're doing? What do you say to them?
So I just want to make sure for clarity, you're saying diversity and inclusion does more harm than good, maybe?
Yeah, so those people say that.
Yeah, it depends on who's saying it. You know? So my whole thing is, you know, this is how I work nowadays, right? I'm not about to exhaust myself to the point of detriment when it comes to my health and my well-being, right? So what I do is I champion and I move in groups with people that are doing this work, right?
Yes.
Now, most of 91% of CEOs, Fortune 500 CEOs are white cis men, right?
Yeah.
I'm not here to convince you that you need to diversify your workforce, because we have all the business cases that we could possibly, you know, tabulate, right? So you know that a diversified workforce, you know, gives you more profit and revenue, right? So what's the real reason why you're not doing it? So now we have to talk about white supremacy, right?
Yes.
It's my job to put a spotlight on white supremacy. But to someone else's point, I didn't create the system, right? I'm here to give you the tools to dismantle it. And giving you an option that you can create a new system if you want to. And I think nowadays, these organizations are going to be put on the spot, right? So either you're doing this work, you are creating a culture where everyone feels like they belong, you are calling out white supremacy, you are doing whatever you need to do to dismantle it and create an equitable system for access and opportunity for everybody. Either you about that work or you not. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you not, don't say you are. That's what I tell clients all the time. I'm not trying to be a stock image on your website.
Right. Okay.
All these intersectionalities, they love to see me. Oh, she wearing a bow tie too. Let's put her on a website. That means that we woke and we know what we're doing. No, you don't. Right. So I'm here, you know what I'm saying? To basically say either you will or you won't. Just don't say that you're doing it. Don't say you're doing that work, because we all know what's real. Real recognize we're real, right? So to answer your question, I'm about that action with people who are about that action too.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that this is why I love my people, and this is why we have these conversations. I love and agree with some of everything that you all said. And when I'm providing pushback and providing playing the devil's advocate, because like I said before, we've all been in these rooms. We are very privileged in life where we have been on the streets, in the neighborhood, and we have been in corporate offices. All of us on here, we don't have to run our resumes down, and we've all been around some ignorant statements made by some of us and some of them. I think we have to get to the point as Black people where we have to not just say, this is what I want to say about politics. Let me go back. We have to hold politicians accountable. I don't give a damn if they Black, white, Asian American, Latino X, whatever they are. If we cannot ask you as a candidate, what is your Black agenda for your city, your state, your nation? If you don't have one, if it's not in consideration, you cannot get our vote. We need to start pulling our money together, just like other cultures do, just like Irish people and Jewish people and Asian people do. And we need to start buying our candidates. Plain and simple. We have $1.2 million for you. What can you do for the community? If you can't do A, B, C, D for the community, you're not the person we're getting behind. You're not the person we're putting our $1 million behind. That's what every other community does. Why is that something we can't do?
Because we're not unified.
We can get there. I don't even think that we're not unified. I think we're unified, but in sectors. And I think that we have to attack everything at the same time. So we need to go after drugs in the community. We need to go about reciprocity in the community. Reparations is another group. Education is another group. Everybody can't work on everything at the same time. I think we need to compartmentalize what we're doing and say, Kelby, you're over education. Casso, you're over mental health. Kaiseriffic, you're over drugs in the community. You're over reparations. Jay, you're over reciprocity. And Ervin, you're going to coordinate. You're going to be the coordinating group between all these things to bring stuff in here. So just imagine, and I'm on a tangent right now because somebody need to hear this. Just imagine if every Black person go, right now, we're working on nothing but education for the next 2 years. We're working on equitability in education for Black children, brown children for the next 2 years. We're not talking about anything else but education. And then in 2 years after that, now we're attacking drugs in the community. 2 years after that, now we're talking about employment in the community. Can you imagine if we just focus on one thing at one time? Let me lighten this load up for the listeners, because we're gonna get more deeper than I want to go. So let's see. Let me ask y'all a few more questions, then we're gonna do our round robin, and we're gonna be up out of here. What is a lie that you believed all the way into your adulthood? What is a lie that you believed all the way into adulthood? I'm going to start with, who has not started with? I'm going to start with you, Jaylen first.
Ooh, a lie? Ooh.
A lie that you believed all the way into adulthood.
Ooh. Okay, I would say after undergrad, so early 20s, I realized that this working hard, you got to work hard. You got to work 20 times, 30 times harder than doing this, that, and the third. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not safe.
I'm going to work smart. And here's the thing. This is what I tell people all the time, right? So, yes, I've been socialized to be 10, 20 times better than them to get where I am. But then you start to take that in. So you don't even want to rest anymore. You
Mm.
take time out to do self-love and to give yourself grace. You know, I had to actually sit down and say, I'm more compassionate towards others than I am myself. Beating up
Mm.
on myself, thinking I need to be constantly in go mode. So I will say what I've had to do and say, listen, I'm no longer in survival mode. I am now thriving. I went through all of what I've gone through in order to get to this point. I am working smart, not hard, and I'm here to get my
Yeah.
things, and I'm here to show others how to get their things.
Yeah, and I think that's a very American thing too. I think that's a very American thing to work yourself to the bone until you dead and until you retire and then you die 2 years later.
I
Because in
think
other
in-
countries, they
Yeah, it's all a lie too, you know, so that westernized culture of, you know, that Americanized way of thinking. I mean, there is a term in the Japanese culture, I forgot the name, but working to death. Like there's actually people who have heart attacks on, you know, subways and things like that. But I think for Black people, you know, it's like, it may take me longer to get there. And I'm just saying, like, even in my career progression, it may take me longer to get there because of all the obstacles you throw on my way. But please believe when I get there, I'm going to always be better. I say
absolutely,
that all the time.
absolutely,
I am willing and I am able, and you can't stop me. So
absolutely. That part. You're not even close enough to being powerful enough to stop me. You're not even in the spectrum of being able to stop me. How about that? You're not even on the page. What about you, Kelby Alese?
What's a lie that I believe? I think that I just had to get things done in a certain order, like high school, college, then you do the, you know, I think I had this idea of, and it was probably just me being a little bit more naive, and I don't want to say lack of guidance because I have a great mom, but just lack of being out in the real world and understanding certain things. So I just had this idea of it was this step, then this step, then this step, and I didn't explore the idea of, well, maybe instead of going to this college, maybe you really want to work on a trade, you know, or maybe you want to work on, I just never really explored those things until later. And I'm kind of glad things fell the way they fell, but I think I would have lived my life a little bit fuller had I thought about those things early on.
Because you had options to choose from besides what somebody told you, this is the order you're supposed to go with. That's a good one. That's a word right there. Shoot some hearts up for Kelby on that one. What about you, Kaiseriffic?
You know, it was always a thing that people try to say that, well, success, you can have success overnight, and you don't. You have to work to build your success. Nothing happens overnight anymore. As opposed back in the day, I realized that you have to have some type of connection to get somewhere, to get to where you want to be. You have to know someone in order to be something. People didn't become stars overnight. They had to do shows. They had to learn new things, meet different people, different connections. All the old singers like last night, Jackson 5, they had to build their way to get where they're. And I thought as a child, you know, hey, this happened overnight. No, now I look at like, yeah, you have to work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people saying you can't live your dreams because you need to work a full-time job, like everybody was saying, 16, 20 hours in order to make it in life. No, you don't have to. You can be your own individual, have your own independent business. And these were the lies that were told to me. And I believed them to some point. And then another part of me was like, no, you got another purpose. You got another place to go in life. And I'm so much happier now. So much happier that I
releasing that what people think you're supposed to be or the steps that you're supposed to take. That is a powerful tool. That's a powerful thing. Real talk. What about you, Darius Marcel Hagens? And if y'all don't understand why I'm saying his whole name, because that's his whole name, Darius Marcel Hagens.
I am Samuel L. Jackson in the streets.
You hear me? Darius Marcel Hagens to you.
No, but you'll never forget it though, for real. But I would say that wealth was reserved for a certain few. I believe that, and it's not necessarily that I believed it, but it's like when you hear it, you don't know what the alternative is. So for me, I've been slowly but surely for the last several years understanding the wealth literally is all based in your discipline. is based in your choices. It's based in how you decide to construct something. We've been told that you have to be an athlete, you have to be a musician, you have to be a politician, or even more so, you got to be corrupt in order to obtain wealth. Like most people in the hood are taught that rich people are bad.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even make sense. It's like money doesn't have an inherent good or bad. Money just is. It's how you use it that determines if it's good or bad. So most people are growing up hating the thing that they're desiring. Everybody desires money, but if you think it's a bad thing, then you're subconsciously programming your mind to not go after it. But you have to understand that wealth can be obtained, and you don't have to do it the way that other people do it. Whatever you're great at, whether that's, in my case, taking photos or acting. Somebody else, it may be like how Jay said that she works in corporate America. That may be her path to wealth. But it's like, do that in the most excellent way where you cannot be denied. That's what it takes to get wealthy. And it's like, until I started walking that, I did not know that. And I'm glad that I didn't listen and I walked my own path to be able to figure it out for myself, because I know that wealth is obtainable and it's sustainable as well. It's not a runoff. It's not a far off thing that you get lucky on. You don't have to get lucky on it. You just have to get disciplined. When you get disciplined, your life shifts and you will start to find wealth, not just monetarily, but in your relationships, in your finances, in your business, in your spiritual, in your mental, in your emotional. You start to learn what wealth actually is. And in my opinion, I say that wealth is a deferment of allotted resources. That's what it is. So you're putting things into your reserves. So the same way you do money, that means you have emotional fortitude. You have, and spiritual fortitude. You have relational fortitude. You understand what it's like to build relationships in a way that are strong. That is wealth. That is, I need somebody right now, and I have them in my corner to pray for me, to buy me a sandwich, to look after my kids, or whatever the case may be. And it's so much simpler than we've ever been told, but they run us through a loop. And it's like, by the time we figure it out, we're on our deathbed usually. And it's not fair. And it's like, I'm glad. I'm telling everybody I can tell that it's a lie. I'm telling every person I possibly come in contact with, it's a lie.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a beautiful word, real talk. What about you, Casso?
Lie that I believed until I was an adult. I don't believe I really have anything for you at this time.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I was up, so I'm going to do something that I've never done before, because I always read out questions like Sugar. You've been very active, Crystal, Taylor, everybody that's in the room right now. Is there a question that you want to ask any of the poets before we go into these round robins? Once again, if you like any of the poets, any people that you've heard tonight, make sure you hit their Cash App. Please hit their Cash App. This is not free, and we will shout you all at the end of the show about the Cash App. But if you have any questions, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to ask your question. Well, some of you can't type, so 15 seconds to ask your question. If some of you hand pecking, you're doing this. So if you want to ask a question right now, you can ask a question. Let me turn the music on. Do 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 hood version. I have issues. I don't know why they gave me a show to do. Okay, so Sugar asks, how can I get out there to do my thing on the mic? Sugar, I'm going to answer that question for you, and anybody on the microphone on the show can jump in. Sugar, you just have to go. You have to do it. Nobody's going to offer you a microphone. Nobody's going to offer you a space. Kaiser has a show coming up. Kaiseriffic has a show coming up on March 16th. Hit him up, get on his stage, and let me tell you something about the poetry community that's so beautiful. We embrace every single poet that comes on stage for the first time, and every time that poet goes on stage. Angela Storr, if you don't get back to me, I've been trying to get you on the show for 3 weeks now. If you don't check your inbox, I see you online. What's up? But Sugar, we embrace everybody who comes to the poetry scene. So don't come. You can be nervous. We're going to encourage you. We're going to help you on artists. We're going to let you write and all those other things. What about anybody else want to answer that?
You don't have to go on somebody's stage to get started. You can do
Absolutely.
a YouTube video. You can create your own environment where people come and see you. Don't wait for somebody else to get started.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
All right, that's an excellent. Anybody else? Any other questions? All right, so we about to go into this round robin. You absolutely welcome, Sugar, no problem. We about to, and I'm saying Sugar like an old woman, but that's her name. It's Sugar. And it's like SHUGA, SHUGA. Sugar. So we about to get into this round robin. So the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So we gonna go first with Jay Lene. Then it's gonna be Darius Marcel Hagens. Then it's gonna be Casso Powell. Then it's gonna be Kelby Alese, Kaiseriffic. And then myself, I'm gonna close it out. Then we're gonna come back, tell people where they can find you, all of your social media, how to get in contact with you, yada, yada, yada. So we about to do that round robin. So get ready for these boys to spit that hush. All right. You can start anytime you want to, Ms. J.
So I'm gonna do a snippet. So
A snippet. I should say I'm going to do a snippet because
I'm
my
gonna do a
ass
snippet because I'm
my
on
ass
the
cough
charts
fell
right
off.
now. Oh yeah. So this is a piece that I wrote, and I just real quick. So I guess with the snippet, I'm gonna give you a background story. So
No
I wrote this piece because, like I said before, find your lane. Don't let anybody pressure you into thinking you have to sound a certain way or have a certain cadence or talk about a certain subject. Just find your lane. So I remember there was a host back in the day, and he used to do a show. And he told me, he said, Jay, I would book you more if you didn't read on paper. He's like, I would really book you more. I love your wordplay. I love this. I love that. And, if you just memorize your stuff. And again, it wasn't until I saw Mother Sonia Sanchez on stage with paper. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep my paper. And I'm going to do this poetry thing the way I want to do this poetry thing. And that's it. So anyway, this is Paper Poet. So it's just a little snippet. So I am a paper poet. I am a poetic, prolific, precursor, phonic, P-O-E-T, pronounced predestined, prose, plain, phantom, plight, panic, poet, purposely, proposition, power punching, pronouns. I am a plural participles, paraphrase, plagiarism pretender. I am a purifying protein peptide pillar of prose with a pH spoken word balance of 1 to 7 with a silver tongue. These words are so acidic when I spit, spoken sonnet simultaneously spellbound and sizzle. I third degree burn conscious thought provoking cynics. I said I third degree burn conscious thought poet provoking cynics. Trounce them in flammable Disney's recess wordplay pessimism. I strike black fire opposite of H2O cataclysm with burnt matches, no wilderness Girl Scout backpacking practice. Lyrically, I smoke Smokey the Bear, leaving poetic despair. God, I'm sending smoke signals that cloud cirrus. With a message in the bluest eye sky, who's gonna save their souls now? From subject and verb, Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss, Helen, put them on mute, Keller. Deaf poets are silently waving amputee appendages for poetic aid by planes, trains, and automobiles. Alliteration aborted the mission to save damsels in unstressed syllable distress. I mission impossible that mission. For her, I mission impossible that mission for poetry. Am I her keeper? Yes. I am a paper poet.
Yes. With all
that word.
With all that alliteration in there, you better read.
With all that alliteration.
All that alliteration, yes. Come on, next person, let's go. Round robin.
Oh, my bad. So I was supposed to have a piece ready.
Yep.
Don't.
That's how round robin works.
Let me see what I got in my brain. Let's see. We spent a lifetime looking for love. Outside of us, we struggle for trust because no one ever told us that we was enough. But I think back to the name I was given on 8/11. King, crown, heavy as heaven, that sent me at 1027, but no lean in my system. Chin up, head high. When I'm in the mirror, I see I'm made in his image. My lineage say I'm an heir. Just look at my hair, gold skin, kissed by the sun. You pick which one, but the recipe love, right in my destiny. I see you, big God. Just look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Check my reflection, this utter perfection, divine resurrection inside of me resting. Woo! Give me a minute, wait. Never catch me swag switching. Sorry, y'all, if I brag different. Probably y'all, because the lag different. Island hopping with the misses, no competition. You know how I do. I keep it simple.
Hey.
Yeah. He gonna drop it. I'm a lead it there. All right, Mr. Casso.
Me, I'm gonna do I like you. I like you. And it's deeper than that love that people think of when they think of love. See, my like you, Steve, will paint you in a hue God could envy, because beauty's only skin deep, but my soul frenzies when I think of you. Reminiscent of all things pure. And sometimes that shit's manure, but you can rest assured my like for you blooms like fresh spring flowers or illness cures. And it's obscure and a little immature to say that I liked you. And I somehow think that's deeper than love. Like seeing the sky opening and seeing the heavens open up above. And when push comes to shove, it'll be you and I, like Aquemini, standing on that mountain built out of a molehill, and we'll just be real. Real as can be, with no need for the woe is me's. We can swing like autumn leaves from trees, almost falling. I like you. Can't you see? Where I want to be like birds and bees, KISSING, and fancy free, like lovers who dance the true romance to the music of their hearts, like no one's watching. Like a motherfucker with no place to go. I'll be plotting, squatting, watching, and waiting for you to like me too.
Oh.
For Valentine's Day, I would have.
Yeah.
Put that on a Valentine's Day card. No, seriously. We need more poets writing Valentine's Day cards. That's
we do.
Y'all need to get into the station, or especially these love poets. Like,
hey, I've been told that once or twice.
I'm serious.
And do it.
It's hard.
Who was next?
Our messages like that.
Oh, go on, Kelby. I'm sorry about that. We sorry.
No, we talking. I'm good. All right, this is called The Fuse. Can we slow dance? Hand in hand, palm on ass type of romance? Can we role play? BK, have it your way, except I'm gourmet. Can you come taste? Pineapples before play. Grab my waist, pull up in me, blend like we trying to make a smoothie. Nice and juicy. Moans like music. Smacks like acoustics. Looks like we fusing. That's that piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's time to go home.
I feel like I'm surprising y'all.
these grown people poems over here.
I've never heard you spit, so I'm like,
here I am.
That's why I am.
Hello, my name Kelby.
Follow everybody.
All right, Kaiseriffic.
Thank you.
That was dope.
So I'm gonna read from my book, Taste of Love. This is the 11th book out of the 13. You can find it on Amazon too. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sade, so I wrote a poem to Sade.
You know you St. Louis. You say I'm a big fan of Sade.
Yes, he's the St. Louis star, Sade. Sade. Yeah. Yes. No. So y'all know the songs. Please clap, snap, whatever you need to do.
Right.
Sade, is it a crime that I want you? I cherish the day to meet you. I am a soldier, love to be by your side. As my feelings ready to where I'm your smooth operator as you pretend to be this Jezebel while we make love through desert storms and moon glows.
You breaking up, start over. You start breaking up terribly.
Oh, okay. Sade, is it a crime that I want you? I cherish the day to meet you. I am a soldier of love to be by your side. As my feelings write illustrated poems about us. Where I am your smooth operator as you pretend to be this Jezebel while we make love through desert storms and moon glows and nothing can come between us. because we share a no ordinary love that is never as good as the first time. And that's what makes us different from everyone. I listen to you all day, every day. The moment your record plays, I promise to never turn my back on you. Hearing you say your love is king, finding myself drawing crowns around your heart as your voice leads me in the days inside paradise. I became addicted as I hang on to your love, closing my eyes, waiting for your kiss of life, recreating the sweetest I love. Really, Sade.
Yes, you start messing up at the end, but we got that because I am a Sade fan too, and I understood every song that you mentioned up in there. You hear me? So I'm going to close us out with a poem, especially by it being the last day of Black History Month, but we celebrate Black History 365 days around here. So I'm going to do this poem called "Did You Think a Black Woman Today?" because I highly fucking doubt it. You hear me?
Okay.
I sell these hoodies as well with stretch pants, t-shirts, and everything. So this poem is called "Did You Think a Black Woman Today?" Dear Black man, has your tongue formed the words "thank you"? Have you set your pride aside and stated, "I don't know everything"? Have you watched Mother Earth words fall from the lips of a queen, cut her eyes, and announce that I gave birth to everything in this universe? Can you recognize a queen upon the vision of hope? Essential question. Did you think a Black woman today? Because I highly fucking doubt it. You're too arrogant in your stance. You think you created everything. You place your God complex above her love because of your insecurities. Can you recognize her security? Screaming over your body, looking policemen in the eyes and screaming, "You won't dare touch my son, my husband, my father, my brother." Have you carved out a space to protect your daughter's tongue to speak when she needs to speak? Tell her that she is not less than a man, but more than the advancement of anyone. That she is in fact greater than all things, more than a queen, black on top of biggity fucking black. The touch of blessings rise from her fingertips. She prays in the middle of the night for your ascending, took lashes with you, sold on chopping blocks with you, voted for you, stood up in America and say, "See me," the last one on the ladder, the last one to be called beautiful, the last one to be chosen. Did you think a Black woman today? I highly fucking doubt it. Tell her that her beauty is enough. Give her your mother's prayers. Fight for her. Refuse to allow someone to disrespect her. Do you believe what's on the news about her? Have you worshiped in the God inside of her? Have you told her she is a masterpiece? What is a Mona Lisa when you have a Nefertiti sitting on the throne next to you? How nothing moves unless she gives it command and permission. How you are everything to everyone and nothing to yourself. Did you think a Black woman today? Stood erect when she walked past, ran for the door because queens don't open anything but their third eye to cry and weep for you. Have you wiped her tears today? Did you think a Black woman today? Dear white women, did you think a Black woman today? Because I highly fucking doubt it. Did you allow her to be part of the feminist movement, or did you make her take the back seat? Acquiesce to your command. Use her love for your ascending, backstab her in corporate America. She reminds you how you don't love her consistently, how master loved her and left you sitting alone. But as soon as your husband don't trust her, you drop her. You only feminist for white women issues. You only agree with her when it benefits you. You only feminist when she's the step stool to your success. You don't thank Black women. You make her choose between her Black and her womanhood. You disguise her success as yours. She kicked ass in the voting booths already for you, benefited from none of it. She will never be privileged and white. Also be second tier to your man bashing. When you are done, she would have built your palace on her back, her arms, her thighs. You will be everything and she will be nothing. So did you think a Black woman today? Because I highly fucking doubt it. Your accomplishments will only be heard in her silence. You will silence her. Secretly plays she goes back to Africa. After her, you will attack her publicly. Scream at her imperfections. Cut her off in front of your superiors. Get mad at her for siding with her Black. In fact, her Black will be too strong. Her cup of tea you can't take because you're nothing but a coffee drinker who prepares your coffee with cream. She will flaunt her Blackness too strong. You will complain about her natural hair, her do-rags, Her body won't fit the office stylings of your projection. You will project because you detect too many heads following her. When she walked past, man will bow or pass out. She be too powerful. She be too strong. She be too brilliant. How dare she be beautiful, bold, and black? Attack her, I say. But did you think a black woman today? I highly fucking doubt it. Dear white men, did you think a black woman today? Did you appreciate her politics, her silence in your attacks, her cleaning up of your bullshit, her surrender to your touch to save her sons, her husbands, her nanny to your bastard children, her wife to your wifeless home, her little something something into your perversions? Did you hold her as you killed her husband? Did you hold her as you stabbed her son? Give her fear in place of her love, beat her, raped her, never stood up for her, go along with the good old boys when she comes home for promotions? How dare she think she deserves more than the crumbs that are given to her? You would take credit for all of her ideas, steal her brilliance and disguise it as white man privilege. Did you remind her how much she's covered you? Called your wife to masquerade all of your little rendezvous, let you cry on her shoulders when life didn't get right. You treat her as if you don't need her. You speak of her as if you don't desire her. You demote her as if she's not more qualified and important than you. So did you think a black woman today? Because I highly fucking doubt it. Dear children, dear child, did you thank your black mother today? Because I highly fucking doubt it. She go to work to struggle just to get paid, grieved over your behavior. Her teachers thinking that you didn't know any better in school cried for you. She know what you face, scrub those dirty clothes over bathtubs, hands bleed for you. She makes sure you show up looking your best, even when it wasn't her best, it was her best. She made sure you showed up looking your best, even when it wasn't the best, it was her best. Gave you everything, told you you are a king or a queen, stand up for yourself. Fight back, but you didn't know every time she walked out those doors that she had to fight back, fight against the world that tells her she's nothing, tell her that she will always be number two, but she believes in you. Take second job to make sure you're in activities, make sure lights be on and gas be hot, make sure you well taken care of. She's a better mother than her mother ever was, but you will stand in her face, tell her what she hasn't done for you, give her hell, make her bow to you, make her scream for your time, make her run behind you, you ungrateful human, spawn of Satan. How dare you be unforgiving to all of her wrong decisions for all the right reasons? Did you look at her in the eyes and see her struggle? So did you think a black woman today? Because I highly fucking doubt it. Dear black women, did you think a black woman today? Did you forgive yourself? Did you look in the mirror and love you first? Did you put the oxygen mask on yourself first and save yourself? Did you dance in the sun to save your sons? Did you stop and just breathe? Let the tears of doubt fall. Collect the small pieces of God you left within others. Did you embrace the God in yourself? Did you sit in the middle of a field and pick flowers, laugh without restrictions, run bath water and soak in your greatness, break the chains attached to your womanhood? Did you break the generational curses on your womb, roar at the top of your lungs? Have you not begged them to see you today? Did you not have to beg them to see you today? Demand the room without judgment. Did you allow yourself to be strong in your vulnerability, to be vulnerable in your strength, to rock your afro, your braids, your extensions to your extensions? Did you put your black woman on your tongue and speak life into the mirror today? Do you believe in your power? Do you believe in your wonder, your grace, your tears, your fearless, your motherfucking fearlessness, your hopes, your dreams, your power, your excellence, your resilience, your motherfucking dopeness, your dopeness? Did you thank a black woman today? Well, you should. Because all of who you are is not something I highly fucking doubt. That's that piece. So if you did not go thank a black woman today, go thank a black woman today. That has been our show. Before we leave, we about to catch up with where everybody at, what everybody's doing. So we're going to start with Darius. Darius, where can they find you? What do you do? Give them all of your social media where they can find you. And if you have not hit those cash apps tonight, hit those cash apps so we can thank you. All right. So where is it with Darius? Where can they find you? Darius, I think you're on mute. Did you mute it?
I can't tell if I'm supposed to.
No, you're not
You
frozen.
was freezing for a second. What'd you say?
I said, did you mute
Okay.
it?
Well, pretty much I actually put everything on. No, I'm here. I'm still here.
Okay.
I put all like everything that I'm doing right now. I listed some type of form of link of it on my actual page, Darius Marcel Hagens. That's how you can find me on most platforms. But the real thing that I prefer people to really follow me under is my business, which is Nostalgic Forevers. So I have links on my personal page. That is my production company. That is how I spend my time. That is what I devote my time in. Just creating media like we talked about. One of the biggest things that I've created recently, I created my very first course. And this course is, in short, I call it a manual to find you without losing yourself. It is something that helped me get to this point in my life to be able to make sense of all the chaos I went through. So I created a course for people to be able to do the same. Most people are looking for themselves. So that link is on my page. It's called The One. And if that's something you're interested in, definitely invest in yourself. It will change your life just as it did mine.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Darius. And what about you, Kaiseriffic?
Well, everybody can find me on Facebook under Kaiseriffic.
Can you spell Kaiseriffic for them?
Yes, I please do, because everybody spell it so wrong. Kaise, 2 R's, IFIC.
You mad at them because you created a complicated spelling ass name. Okay, I see what we're doing here.
Hey,
all right, where can they find you, Chris?
I know proper spelling. They can find me on Facebook under Kaiseriffic. My show, that new shit, is March 26th. It will feature Lightning, Bell Darius, and my other friend, Quiet Storm the Poet. They can also find me on Instagram under Kaiseriffic. Again, Kaise, 2 R's, IFIC. Google me. That's pretty much how they can find me.
All right, thank you for that. And what about you, Kelby Alese?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Kitty Pink LLC. I have a lot of stuff going on that page. So I sell incense and perfume oils on there, but I am also doing photo shoots all the time. So you'll see a lot of my photos on there. Right now, though, the main thing I want people to do is go to my website. I have recently started an adult toy store. And so I want people to go there. It is, I don't know if you guys can see it, kittypinktoys.com, kittypinktoys.com. So please go there. And if you like my poetry today, I also have a book, Poetic Photos. You can find it on lulu.com. You can also find it on Amazon. And thank you for having me.
Open it up so they can see it. Open it up so they can see it. Her book of poetry are pictures of her with poems attached to it. It's dope. So you're not just getting a book of poetry, you're getting photography with it as well. And Darius Hagens and Kelby Alese, you all need to work together on some shots, because he's a photographer as well. What about you, Mr. Casso?
Let's see. Well, you can find me on Facebook under Tony Tone. I'm gonna get an Instagram, otherwise Sir Ervin is gonna treat my whole life. Yes. I'm working on a book that I plan to have finished by May, and it'll be available to buy digitally in June.
That's what's up. What's the title of the book that's going to be out in June?
Oh, I don't know yet. Work in progress.
Would it be out under your poet name or under your legal name?
It'll probably be my poet name.
Okay, we're gonna have to get some stuff in works with that, sir. June is around the corner.
Clearly.
All right, and what about you, Ms. J. Lene? Where can people find you on social media, your company, and everything like that?
Yeah, on social media, you can find me at J. Let's see, Facebook and Instagram.
Jay, can you speak up a little bit, just a little bit?
Can you hear me? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so you can find me on social media, J Booker, Jai Booker, Booker on Facebook and Instagram. And please, 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 if you work in an organization that you need, listen, okay, if you work in an organization that you strongly want to make better for Black people, hit me up. So www.thebookergroup.org. That is the website. You can find me on LinkedIn at Jessica Booker. I do executive recruitment placements, and I also do culture design. So if your organizations need help, I'm here to help.
Absolutely. She's great at what she does. I'm not even going to brag about some of the companies that she worked for because I don't know if I can, but she's great at what she does. And when she says she works in corporate America, she works in corporate America real life, real time.
Yeah, okay, so let me just correction. I did work in corporate America.
You did work in corporate America. You have your own business now.
For the last 2 years, I have been running the Booker Group as the founder and CEO of the Booker Group. And yes,
absolutely.
I have clients based on the West Coast, but at the same time, like I said, I'm all over. So www.thebookergroup.org.
Absolutely. And please check all of these amazing, fantastic people out. If you are listening right now, I need you to click on, I put the link up in YouTube. I need you all to click on my YouTube channel at Sir ErvinJWilliams and subscribe. There you can find the behind the scenes stuff of this show, as well as the rewatch of this show there with all of the edits and everything in it. So please subscribe to that. Once again, I am Sir ErvinJWilliams on all platforms. Unfortunately, I can't accept nobody else's friends on Facebook because I'm at my 5,000 mark, but you can feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm also ticking with the talking, but I really need people to subscribe to that YouTube page and check us out. So once again, I want to thank my fantastic guests for coming. Shout out to Jay Lene, Kelby Alese, Casso, Darius, Marcel, Hagens, and Kaiseriffic. Thank you all so much for being on Sarah's Sunday Spitters. This was a phenomenal show, and you all gave it to them real and raw. Thank you for putting up that information, Ms. Felicia, for J Booker Group. Everybody, make sure you hit these cash apps, and we're going to thank Real STL News for presenting this on Black History, the last day of Black History Month. So I just want us to dance out. It's been great talking to y'all. Y'all look good. Y'all look beautiful. Y'all look black. Y'all look strong. Y'all are powerful. But when we done, I want you all to take a 10-minute break, and we're going to come back in, and we're going to do some behind the scenes stuff. Shouldn't take number like 10 minutes, all right? So I'll holler at y'all later. Peace. And it's the Sir ErvinJWilliams Show. Dancing on out. Oh, let's let you drop. Darius, don't pick up 16 balls. Don't go. You know you're
We all about the love to get a hater.
I'll let you all, thank you all so much for tuning in.
Yo, it's your boy Sir ErvinJWilliams coming to you with Sunday Spitters, presented by Real STL News each and every Sunday of this beautiful Black History Month. We're going to be interviewing some of the dopest poets, the dopest spoken word artists, the dopest hip hop artists all across the country. So come check us out, get cute, dress up, come to your living room. It's all virtual, it's all free. Yo, and did I mention it's all free? Check us out with some of the dopest to ever do it in the city of St. Louis and all across this country. Hope to see y'all there. Peace. Lock us in.